Hi, my name is Julianna Stephenson, and today we are doing a post-election recap with Kasey Potter, the newly elected school board member. So Kasey, thank you so much for coming.
Absolutely.
Can you just briefly tell me what your first priority is for the school board?
Yeah, so we just got word that we will take office, I guess, in January. So there's two school board meetings, one tonight and one in December. And I guess my first thing is I just want to hear from the parents. I want to know, where the concerns are, what are we excited about? I know I just read in the paper that there's that the school resource officers, were trying to be extended. So I want to make sure that obviously that continues to happen. And then I just want to dive in. I want to hear from the parents. I want to know, what we can do, what needs to be done, what is flourishing, what needs just a little bit of work, and, just start identifying areas that are of concern.
Yeah, of course. So last year, the schools banned some books in Malvern Downing Middle School, and I just was wondering where you kind of stand on that issue.
So I had originally looked into the books, the ban, and things like that prior to even running for school board, just because I wasn't privy to a lot of that. My sons were out of Malvern Downing when this happened, and then at the high school, I think that the library is much less used. So I want to find out what books are there, what books were banned or not banned, or again, I just want to hear from the parents. I want to find out, where again the concern is, and then go from there. Like I said, I think that every parent should have a voice in their child's education and what they're being taught and how they're being taught and what they're being exposed to in the library. And so as a parent, I want to reach out. I want you to reach out. So we were given the opportunity to set up some school emails and stuff like that. So, as soon as I have that, I want to share that with everyone and be like, I want to hear from you. There is no, I don't care if it's the cafeteria food was great today or, my child's teacher said the F word. I want to know. I want to know everything. So bombard me, please.
Yeah, so as far as the book ban goes, are you hoping to create a policy for kind of which books get banned and kind of what would that look like?
So I think that right now there is a policy in place. I don't know if it's at both schools, but it is an alert system on what your child is checking out. And you as a parent are able to go on there and set some guidelines. And so obviously looking into that, familiarizing myself and things like that.
Yeah, awesome. So I guess what kind of input do you want parents to have? You touched on that a little bit already, but.
Yeah, I want to, again, just if there's concerns on how your child's being taught or what they're being taught, I want to know, and I want to dive right into it. I want to go back. I want to read through past school board meetings. I want to identify areas that, my biggest thing is, and I don't even know how I go about this, but it's going to be one of the very first things that I bring up is, when parents take the time out of their day to show up to a school board meeting, again, whether it is a comment, a concern, a positive, a negative, and they address the school board, I think that our policy should immediately be that, we respond back to you, whether it's, you give us 24 hours or 48 hours or something like that, you should get something back from us, whether it's a thank you for the concern, we're looking into this. Obviously we can't solve problems on the spot right there, but there's no reason that you address a school board and nothing happens. Like I said, this is an issue that my child faced back during the COVID, when he was in school, and nobody ever addressed him. And I think it shouldn't be a thing.
Yeah, so I know a lot in your campaigning, you mentioned that transition from the city's middle school to the county's high school. I guess why are you focused on that, and what are the issues with that transition?
So again, we've got 8th graders who are graduating from LDMS, and then 2 weeks later, roughly 2 weeks later, if they're taking summer school. So let's back up a little bit. So there's summer school opportunities for 8th graders to go to summer school, to do PE, to knock that out. So that opens up their schedule for their 9th and 10th grade years. And parents don't know about that. Nobody's being told that, even before that. So let me back it up a little bit more. All of the 8th graders from both the city and the county schools go and visit the high school. They go in big groups, large settings, stuff like that. They're walked around, they're introduced to this. There are so many kids that haven't even been inside the high school. And so the first thing that we're going to do is we're actually going to take some of the seniors right now, and we're going to bring them into the middle school, and they're going to go directly into the 8th grade classes. And I'm actually working with Miss Leonard's working with my sons on this to come in so that you have somebody in front of you. You have one of your peers in front of you and you can ask a question so you're not embarrassed, you know? And so Drew's gonna go into these English classes, the 8th grade English classes at LDMS, and do like kind of like a one-on-one with the kids, just so they can ask the questions before they get to the high school. They can ask, how do we use the lockers? How does lunch work? This and that, you know? Because if you're in a group of 100 kids, you're not gonna raise your hand and ask a question that you might think makes you look dumb or something. So anyways, we're gonna do that. So that's huge first. But then creating these identities. You know, one of the biggest things is that the way that the kids submit their work, you know, it's almost like a college level, like it's through Canvas, right? Canvas, yes, yeah. Sorry, Infinite Campus is the other thing that is our grading system or our online app that we use out there. But so the 8th graders teaching them that before. So when they graduate, and then all of a sudden now they're considered a county student they're already taking county classes and stuff like that. So just trying to ease that transition, because it's not fun. It is not fun to deal with. It is not great. So maybe starting that before school closes and we're losing, you know, the help that we can have, because, you know, it's summertime and people aren't working. So doing that, and then again, just trying to fix problems that we already know are there. You know, and according to some folks, these problems have been here for 10 years. So let's fix them now. So then when we do transition, it's not, you know, the end of the world.
Yeah, could you talk a little bit about that communication disconnect, especially I know before we talked about freshman orientation?
Yeah, so that's the other thing is, and again, I don't even know how to go about this, and I don't know if I have enough time between like January to May to get everybody on the same path. Like this might be like a next year thing where the two school systems communicate better to where we are using the same kind of like alert system. So at the high school we use, you know, one alert system. So when we had to reschedule freshman orientation due to weather last year, the 8th graders didn't get that. So, you know, that's a simple phone call to Dr. Kasey or Miss Walters, you know, on the Lexington City schools and saying, hey, can you send out an alert letting the graduated 8th graders know, hey, we aren't, you know, we had to reschedule orientation, or just putting it out an alert anyway. Like, it doesn't matter if you, let's say you have, like for me, like I would have had a 7th grader and then a 9th grader. So I would have still gotten the alert and I would have known, you know? And so trying to get everybody on the same grading, you know, parent portal, parent online, whatever app that we use, because then you can track your kids' grades all the way through. So like, instead of, you know, trying to figure out what classes your child took in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade that are counting for credit towards your high school, it's all there and you can just follow it along, you know? So having all of that in front of you.
Yeah. I know some have suggested creating a position on the county school board for a city resident. Is that something you are hoping to do on the school board?
I would love to. I don't know how to go about it, but it's top priority. It's something that I've got to look into. Again, I know that, you know, Megan, her taxation with that representation, you know, the city is paying a ton of money for these children to go to the Rockbridge County High School, and we don't really have a say. There's nobody from the city that's representing us and, you know, making sure. The other thing, I mean, I'm also the PTA president at the high school, and the biggest thing is there is just a communication, like you are like just so, there's so many, there's so much stuff that comes out when you're at LDMS. Like there's a weekly email from Dr. Kasey. There's so much information. Like sometimes it's like information overload. And then when you get to the high school, like you are cut, you are done. Like you don't know when sports are, you know, unless you're following on like a Facebook page or something like that, like you're so disconnected so fast. And so that's something that I'm trying to fix, is creating, you know, a monthly newsletter, a weekly newsletter, trying to get one of the kids to help out too. You know, in one of like the journalism classes or something, because I think the parents, they miss that. They like knowing, or, you know, if there's a, like right now, I think the SCA is doing the adopt a senior or be a Santa to a senior. So we need products. We need, you know, these senior gifts. So there's a Amazon wish list that parents should know about. And other than sharing it on social media, there's no way to get it out there. So just, again, there has to be more communication all the way around.
Yeah, so I know a lot of people have suggested creating a city high school. Where do you stand on that issue? Do you feel like that would be a solution to the transition?
I don't know. Probably not. I mean, because you would want, I mean, there's what, like 70 kids, 55 kids, I think. So I'm not sure how you create this high school with 55 kids, you know, and have sports teams and, you know, clubs and stuff like that. I'm not sure how that works. I don't even know the logistics of that. I know I've heard that at some point Perry McClure will end up closing and they'll have one big high school and they'll redo the high school. You know, I think that they've been talking about doing a Lexington high school for years and years and years. And I don't know, I think that there's plenty of things that we can do now to ease the transition and to make it better and smoother that, you know, I don't even know where you'd put a high school in the city, but sure,
Right.
maybe if, I don't know how that works, but, you know, I think that there's lots of steps we can take before we even get to that.
All right, well, Kasey, thank you so much for being here with us today and having this conversation. Thank you, guys. This is Julianna Stephenson, and this was our talk post-election with newly elected school board member Kasey Potter.